Okay, listen, pay attention. Before Very Dark Man, there was Delegiwa. Before Bobrisky, there was Glory Okon. What is the relationship between these four persons I just mentioned? Now listen, pay attention. Few months ago, Very Dark Man, the people's man in Nigeria, made a shocking revelation that the controversial character Bobrisky, who was actually meant to be in jail, allegedly was chilling in an apartment while Nigerians thought that he was in jail. Nigerians went berserk that such a thing is unprecedented, that it has never happened before. I laughed because such a thing has happened before, and it has even happened in a higher magnitude. Now listen and pay attention as I take you into the roller coaster of history in the making. Pay attention. On the 31st of December 1983, the one you call 1983, Muhammadu Buhari sacked the civilian democratically elected government of Alhaji Shehu Shagari and Dr. Alice Ekweme, and he came into power. Then he made a decree. Decree number 20 of Buhari's Juanta stated that anyone caught of hard drugs, that is hard drugs, will face capital punishment. You know what capital punishment means? Death by penalty. Okay. Unfortunately, on the 22nd of April, a 35-year-old woman called Glory Okon was caught with hard drugs in the Amino Kano International Airport on her way to London. She was caught with 56.70 grams of hard drugs, 60 pounds sterling, 20,000 naira, and 19,000 Italian lira. The international community as well as the Nigerian community was interested to see what would be the fate of this woman, because there is a law against such thing in the military government of Muhammadu Buhari. But unfortunately, 6 days after, on the 28th of April 1985, Glory Okon reported to have died. She died of food poisoning according to medical reports. According to the custom officers who held her hostage, they stated that she, after being arrested, requested for rice and beans. When rice and beans was given to her, she ate, and afterwards she died. But this is not the mystery. The mystery is that none of her family members came to claim her body. And that was the end of Glory Okon. But listen, this is where the story gets interesting. Of course, that was the end of the story, but that was not the end of the rumor. Nigerians started rumoring that Glory Okon was killed in prison because they didn't want to let the cat out of the bag. Now, what is the cat that they didn't want to let out of the bag? It was alleged that Glory Okon was actually peddling drugs for the wives of some top military officers, whom allegedly was one of the wives of top military officer Badomesu Ibrahim Babangida, his wife Marian Babangida. Some others rumored that Glory Okon was actually in another country enjoying herself while she's faked to be dead in Nigeria, and that the body that was parading as dead Glory Okon in Nigeria was actually another lifeless body. But all these things are rumor. And then the government of the day got to know about the rumor and wanted to carry out an investigation. But unfortunately, 4 months down the line, on the 27th of August 1985, that same year, Badomesu Ibrahim Babangida sacked the government of Muhammadu Buhari in what was referred to as Palace coup d'etat. Badomesu Ibrahim Babangida came into power, and the case was closed. No one dared to investigate the case of Glory Okon. But then, the prominent lawyer in Nigeria, Gani Fawayomi, brought up the case to be investigated. But not short while, he ran into the crash wall of 2 top senior security officers of Badomesu Ibrahim Babangida, who was Harilu Hakilu and Kunle Togan. These people made sure that the case was not investigated, and the case died off. Listen, on June 2009, Professor Okon stated what really happened. He stated in an interview with the Nation's newspaper that Glory Okon was actually with the original name Chinyere, that she was a friend to Mariam, that the two were also friends to Princess Atta. The three ladies were friends, and so the three of them decided to marry military officers, because then in Nigeria, marrying a military personnel was a very conspicuous thing to do, because military was a great thing to be in. Now, Glory Okon, who actually goes with the name Chinyere, married Chandler, who was called Richard Steve Chandra, the man who shot Kaduna Nzogo during the Civil War and was killed the next day. Mariam married Ibrahim Badumusi Babangida. Mariam was from Asaba. And then Princess Atta married Mama Vasta. These people were all military personnel. After the war, remember, Glory Okon, who is now with the original name Chinyere, lost her husband during the war, who shot Nzogo and was killed the next day. She's now a widow, and she's running a business between Nigeria and London. According to Professor Okon, it was Mama Vasta who arranged a plane that would take her from Amino Kano International Airport to London. And he was the one who brought a lifeless body of another woman and paraded around to be named as Glory Okon. Now, how did Delegiwa got involved? Delegiwa was a very dark man in the 80s. He was a veteran journalist. Delegiwa got an information that Glory Okon had a baby for another man in London, and that she was actually alive, living her life in London. Delegiwa sent a French photographer to go to London and take a picture during the naming ceremony of the baby. And you know what happened? They took a picture of Glory Okon, and Mariam Babangida was around in the naming ceremony. When the pictures got back to Nigeria, on the 19th of October 1986, Delegiwa was seated with Kayode Soyinka, and they were going through the pictures when there was a knock on the door. A dispatcher handed an envelope, a letter, to Delegiwa's son that he should give it to his father. When he handed the parcel of the letter to Delegiwa, Delegiwa looked at the letter and he screamed, "This must be from the president." That is Ibrahim Badumusi Babangida, stating from the conversation they had in previous days. But unfortunately, immediately Delegiwa opened the letter, there was a big explosion. Delegiwa became the first man in Nigeria to be pied with a letter bomb. Delegiwa was screaming and was being taken to an hospital. When they got to the hospital, Delegiwa kept screaming, "They have got me." No one knows whom Delegiwa was actually referring to as "they got me, they got me," and Delegiwa died. That was the end of Delegiwa. Till today, no one knows who killed Delegiwa. No one knows the mystery of Glory Okon. So have you seen that Bobrisky is not the first person allegedly to be in an apartment chilling? Someone was in another country chilling while Nigerians thought that she was dead. Nigeria, Africa. Knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave, and the uncovering of history makes you not to be surprised with what happens in today. In my next video, I'll be telling you about Delegiwa, his life and his impact in Nigeria. He was a very dark man in the early 80s. Wisdom Africa is the principal thing. Remember, you can always request for books from me. All you need to do is to go to my bio right here on TikTok. You see a WhatsApp contact, WhatsApp it and say, "Wisdom is a principal thing," and book will be given to you for free. Alright? Make sure you are following Modern Day Tankwaya on all platforms. Follow me on Facebook, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and make sure you are following me on Instagram and Twitter. All Modern Day Tankwaya. I love you, and I say Mazbon Salama to to everyone who is supporting me on this platform. Wisdom Africa is a principal team. Aha.